It was 1956 in Hawaii. 9-year-old Robert stood on the curb watching a brand new Cadillac glide past him. Inside, his friend Jimmy and a bunch of other kids were laughing, off to spend the weekend at their beach house. Robert and his best friend Mike were invited, not because they were troublemakers, not because they didn't know the secret handshake, but because they were the poor kids. And that moment, that innocent little moment, watching a Cadillac disappear into the palm trees, that moment burned something into Robert's brain. I want to be rich. Part 1. Two Dads, Two Worlds. Robert Kiyosaki grew up with two dads. His poor dad, his biological father, was a highly educated man, a teacher, a guy who believed in hard work, job security, and pensions. The classic American dream blueprint. Then there was his rich dad, his best friend's father. He didn't have a fancy degree, but he owned businesses, warehouses, restaurants, and a very different way of thinking about money. The two dads couldn't have been more different. Poor dad said, "The love of money is the root of all evil." Rich dad said, "The lack of money is the root of all evil." And Robert? He was stuck in the middle, listening to both. One dad said, "Study hard so you can work for a good company." The other said, "Study hard so you can own the company." This wasn't a metaphor. This was real life. Two paths, two mindsets, and Robert had to choose. Part 2. The toothpaste tube business, the first lesson. After being excluded from that beach trip, Robert was on a mission. He asked his educated dad, "How do I get rich?" His dad, caught off guard, gave him the usual: "Use your head, study hard, and you'll be fine." Translation? I don't know, kid. So Robert turned to his friend Mike, and just like that, the two boys became entrepreneurs. Their first business? Melting used toothpaste tubes to make fake nickels. I'm not kidding. In 1956, toothpaste tubes were made of lead. The boys stockpiled them, melted them down, poured them into molds, and tried to make money. Literally. The business didn't last long. When Robert's dad found out, he had to explain, gently, what counterfeiting was and why it was extremely illegal. But instead of grounding them, he said something that stuck. "You boys did something. Most people just talk about getting rich. You actually tried. I'm proud of you." Part 3. Working for 10 cents an hour. The next Saturday, Robert and Mike showed up at Rich Dad's house, and instead of a pep talk, Rich Dad gave them a deal. "Work for me. I'll teach you, but not in the classroom. This is life. Take it or leave it. No questions, no slideshows, just hard work." And so they did. Every Saturday, they worked 3 hours at Rich Dad's small convenience store, dusting cans, stacking shelves, and inhaling dust. Their pay? 10 cents an hour. Even back then, that was low. Comic books cost 10 cents. They were literally trading 3 hours of labor for one comic. After a few weeks, Robert had enough. He marched into Rich Dad's office, ready to rage quit. And that's when the real lesson began. Part 4. The trap called a paycheck. Rich Dad listened patiently as Robert complained. Then he said something that changed everything. Most people work for money. The rich have money work for them. Robert blinked. "You're learning, Robert. I didn't pay you because I wanted you to feel it. The frustration, the helplessness. That's how most adults feel their entire lives. And you know what? He's right. Think about it. How many people do you know who work 9 to 5? Only to feel broke by the 15th of the month. It's not because they're lazy. It's because they're trapped. Trapped by fear and desire. Fear of being broke, desire for a better life. Fear of losing a job, desire for a raise. Fear of not affording college. Desire to own a Tesla. And so we work and spend and work and spend. Welcome to the rat race. Part 5. Why school doesn't teach that. Now here's the kicker. Poor dad was smart, had degrees, a great job, but he still struggled with money. Why? Because school doesn't teach you how to handle money. You can learn calculus, Shakespeare, and how mitochondria are the powerhouse of the cell. But no one tells you how taxes work, or what a liability is, or why your $80,000 salary might still leave you broke. Rich Dad said your brain is your most powerful asset. But school teaches you to memorize, not to think. Part 6, Modern Examples, the same lesson still applies. Fast forward to 2025. You've got people like Jeff Bezos, who earns almost nothing as a salary, but makes billions from assets like Amazon stock. Or Mr. Beast, who reinvests every dollar back into his YouTube empire, building businesses and equity, not relying on AdSense. That's what Rich Dad meant. The poor work for money. The rich build systems that make money work for them. It's not just about income. It's about building assets. Part 7, the real lesson, mindset over money. So what did Robert really learn in Chapter 1? Not accounting, not investing, not budgeting. He learned that the most important asset he could ever develop was his mindset. Rich Dad said, most people let life push them around. They blame their boss, their job, their bills. But the truth is, they never learn to think about money. And the scary part? Many people never do. They get stuck in survival mode, chasing bigger paychecks, chasing job titles, hoping more money will fix everything. But without financial education, more money just becomes more fuel for the fire. Part 8, the choice and the invitation. After all this, Rich Dad gave Robert one final offer. If you want to learn to work for money, go back to school. But if you want to learn to make money work for you, stay here, but I will pay you anything. Robert said yes, and that was the beginning of a new way of thinking, of learning by doing, of understanding assets, liabilities, and freedom. Most people think being rich is about having money, but the truth is, being rich is about having control. Control over your time, control over your decisions, control over your future. And that starts with one question. Am I working for money, or is my money working for me? Let that sink in. If this story hit home, hit that like button. If you want to hear Chapter 2 about financial literacy, assets versus liabilities, and why your house might not be an asset, subscribe and turn on the bell.